Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Gabicki, and today we're going to talk about why if you genuinely want to stop living the same exact life year after year and truly start to become the version of yourself that you know you're capable of becoming, then it is absolutely crucial for you to stop trying to change your life solely off of your goals alone and instead just really start to learn not only how to raise your overall standards and expectations, but how to then properly hold yourself accountable while matching your actions along with it from here on out. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, when it comes to truly breaking free from these cycles and becoming that version of yourself that you know you're capable of becoming, understanding that your standards genuinely control every single little thing you do truly is so important and one of the most valuable lessons that I've personally ever had to learn. Because at the end of the day, your standards control your actions, your mentality, your emotions, whether you take that step, whether you stay inside your comfort zone versus the goal. The goal is just the vision, but your standards are the vessel. Your goal is the thing you want to achieve, but your standards are what's going to get you there. And when you have low standards, but such a high goal, you are going to remain stagnant. You're going to remain in the same cycles. You're going to lose your confidence, your progress, and your full potential, because that's exactly what was happening with me until I not only started to learn how to raise my overall standards and expectations, but how to then properly hold myself accountable while matching my actions along with it from here on out. Because you see, back when I was still living in the city, always just having these higher goals but these lower standards was something that I was carrying around with myself every single day. And I genuinely mean that, whether it was through my actions, my habits, changing my life, getting out of the city, getting out of my environment. Whatever it was, I would sit there every single day and I would want to be an entrepreneur. I would want to make the move. I would want to go and change my life. I would want to strive for things, but my standards would never align. And when I mean that, I genuinely mean like I would be the most laziest person that you would have known. Something would come up and I would just do the bare minimum. I would try and get it done as quickly as I could. I wouldn't apply myself on my time off. I wouldn't educate myself. I would hang out with crash outs, but then I would have that bigger vision. But because these two weren't aligning, it would keep me stagnant. It would destroy my confidence. It started to make me think that the goal itself wasn't even achievable. It's something that I just couldn't even fathom, when in all reality, it was just what I was doing. It was how I was carrying myself, the people I was around, what I was feeding myself with every single day. And once I started to realize that it wasn't the goals that was keeping me stuck, but my standards, these things started to change. I moved out of the city. I changed my life. I started to apply myself. Built this podcast because I started to realize that what you do on a day to day basis, we just said this, is what's going to get you there. Your standards are like the vessel. So when you lower your standards for people, you surround yourself with people that aren't going to help you grow, that aren't going to help you chase that vision and distract you. Of course, you're going to have those negative results. But the second you start to change that around, you start having higher standards for yourself and what you can achieve, your life is then going to change. Because when it comes to truly trying to change your life around and genuinely become that best version of yourself, understanding that your standards are always going to be that foundation for every single decision you make genuinely is so valuable, because it is the God's honest truth. No matter how big your goal is, no matter what decision you want to make, If your standards do not align with them, nothing is going to move in your life. Okay, whether that is through your actions, your habits, your emotions, how people treat you, how you treat others, the people you hang around, whatever standards you might be, until you hold yourself accountable to them and you stop saying it and you start doing it, nothing is going to move. How do I know? Because I tried for so long. It is so important to realize that without the things and just your core necessities as a human, because that's what your standards are. It's what you tolerate, how much you believe in yourself, what you think about yourself, what you think about other people. Until you get those core values down, you fortify them to where nobody else's opinions, nobody else's ideas can affect them. You are constantly going to stay in the same exact cycle. You are never going to change your life, because the only way you do change your life is once these things beat the excuses, once you take control over it, once these different emotions start becoming a priority instead of the second option. So, if you really want to make these things move, start focusing on your decisions, start focusing on your emotions and what you do on a day to day basis, because you can change it around. You can make it real. You just have to stop living through the excuses and start taking the proper action towards it. So, if you genuinely want to stop living the same exact life year after year and truly start to become that version of yourself that you know you're capable of becoming, then it is absolutely crucial for you to stop trying to change your life solely off these goals alone. Because when I sit here and tell you guys that it isn't going to do anything but destroy your progress, your potential, your confidence, and where you want to be, I genuinely do mean it. Because as you see with me, that's exactly what had happened until I not only started to learn how to raise my overall standards and expectations, but how to then properly hold myself accountable while matching my actions along with it from here on out. So, moving forward, instead of just waking up every single day, playing life by the guessing game, wondering if today's the day, wondering if your life is going to change, make that change right now. Stop waiting for somebody else to do it. Stop waiting for the goal to just magically happen and start taking action. Start understanding that the life you are trying to build, the person you are trying to become, does not exist yet. And you waiting for them to show up isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to build that person. You have to build that person with confidence. You have to build that person that holds themselves accountable. Same thing when it comes to your decisions and just what you do on a day to day basis. Stop letting your excuses run your life. Stop saying you're going to do something and then never do it. Because I've told you guys this before. When you do that, you are just ruining the self trust in yourself. You're making it up here that it's okay to make excuses. It's okay to be lazy. And then once you do that long enough, it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes your life. And the third and most important is start raising your standards. Stop lowering the bar for somebody or something, because every time you go below your standards, you put yourself lower than where you need to be, you are not growing. You are not taking any first steps. And a matter of fact, you're taking steps behind you. You have to hold yourself accountable to these things. I get it. It's not always easy. When I was living in the city, I wish I could still talk to a handful of the friends I had around me. But if I did, if I kept lowering my standards, I would not be where I'm at today. You have to start putting yourself first, and you have to start doing these three things. Because when I tell you guys that you can stop living the same exact life year after year and truly start to become that version of yourself that you know you're capable of becoming, I genuinely do mean it. You just have to stop trying to change your life solely off the goals alone, and instead just really start to learn not only how to raise your standards and your expectations, but how to then properly hold yourself accountable while matching your actions towards them from here on out. But with that said, today's quote is by David Cocktrail. He once said, "Never lower your standards just to fill a position. You will pay for it later." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.